What's up, y'all? Paxton here, and today we're going to talk about okra and a variety of okra in particular. So you see it behind me there. If you know me, you probably know that I'm kind of a snob for heirlooms if I can use them and still get the same production, and especially with okra, since okra is kind of my favorite thing to grow and eat. So I've grown heirlooms for years and I never would back off of it, especially with the okra. And this year I'm trying a lot of hybrids. So the okra, I wanted a little more production and I wanted a neater plant, and I just wanted to try something new. So I found out about a cool new, it's not a new seed company, but new to me, is Osborne Seeds. I heard Josh Satin talking about it on his channel and I gave them a try, and this is the variety I got. It's Jambalaya, and it's a hybrid okra. Let's take a look at it. So let's talk about the okra first, since that's what we're actually eating. If you've watched me last year, I showed you some Red Burgundy okra, and that's what I've grown for years and years, and I really love it. This is just a normal green type. The red color, as pretty as it is, it doesn't really do anything for the flavor that I can tell. So what you want, if you don't know, in okra pod, you want them to stay tender as long as you can. And when you get open, you want a lot of meat there. There's seeds, obviously, but you can see a pretty thick wall, and that'll vary a little with growing conditions, but this is just a really good variety. You can see how tight the seed cavity is. There's not a lot of room around the, between the seeds and the actual pod. And when you slice it, you're just slicing it in slices that thick, and that's what you're eating. And this, as far as that goes, is a super quality, and it's a really dark green, darker green than what I've seen in other okras, I think. And, oh, hey. And, yeah, super quality on far as eating, and there's some of them. They don't get as big as quick. That's another thing. These don't get particularly long. Now, some people like some that get really long and stay the same small diameter. This one doesn't have that quality, but the next thing I'm going to talk about is production. And this produces really well. You can see all these pods are just going in succession. Boom, 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 boom. And these buds and flowers just making more and more. So and it's kicking in really good right about now. So it's got really good production. It doesn't have the long narrow pods, but when they do get bigger like this, they're still really good. And so you've got a couple days to harvest them, which okra is not bad. Now you see that the pod is a little crooked on this one. It's not a big deal, but I've had other okras that had a lot of deforms and stuff like that, the Red Burgundy. That could be growing conditions, but I noticed with this one that I don't. This one's a little crooked, so it's not perfect. But as you go through here and look, you see very little of that, and it's been that way all year. So really pleased with that part of it. And again, the production has just been pretty awesome. I'm going to pick a little mess, and so you see I got a 20-foot row here. I'm going to pick what I've got now and just give you an idea what comes off of a row. And if you can't tell, I showed before, there's 2 rows in a 30-inch bed. One here, one there. So here is the crop off of that row. See, all of these are straight, and I had a few deformities. So compared to the past, and this is all of the deformities, this is a classic one. Looked like somebody had been eating on it. It's crooked, it's scarred, and it's got these little wart things on it. That would still, you could still eat that, no problem, but you wouldn't want to sell it. And you can see the little warts on this guy. Not sure what causes that. Again, probably not the best selling point, but it don't hurt it as far as eating. But these were really the only few that had it. That one had the blossom end. I think they get stuck on there and it causes them to curl like that, and that pretty much wastes that pod. But again, still cut that little bite off and eat it and throw it in the pan. But there you go. Not a huge crop, but for the size of row, it's still pretty good, because that's every day. You kind of have to pick the okra every day, and it's not a market garden crop as much as I would love it to be, and I've tried to make it that. I'd have to have a big patch, several long rows of this to really put out what I wanted to sell. So it's not all that profitable anyway, so I'm on this for the time being. Keep it as a food crop. There is one other growth habit on these guys that I want to talk about, and it's something that I really don't like in okra, but it doesn't seem to bother on this plant. So okra, as you can see right here, the fruit come off the main stalk and continuously come out the top as the top grows and the plant gets taller and taller. And these things can get 7, 8, 9 feet or taller than that sometimes. But what they will do, and all okra plants seem to have a small tendency, I prefer having one stalk, but okra plants have the tendency to send out suckers at the node. And sorry about the focus there, but they're little limbs that'll come out. Here's a good example. See, this is not a separate okra plant. It comes out at the base here, or at the main stalk, and it's sending out a sucker limb, which also produces, you can see, not nearly as productive as the main stalk, but it's probably not the most efficient growth. Here's one sticking straight out at me. And part of it I've always associated with genetics, and the other part is over fertilization. So that's kind of an interesting point I want to talk about, because all of these plants are doing it. It's a lot tidier than the heirloom varieties in the way that they'll do it, because they'll send out huge limbs, and I'm sure these will get bigger, but still a lot tidier. But as far as fertilization on this whole row, there was none. This was a garlic row that had the peas in it, and I did a chop and drop, and most of it's gone away now. So that chop and drop, as far as I know, was the only fertility that went on here, because I didn't add anything else. So I would say it's in the genetics. That being said, even with this super tight spacing, the sucker situation on these has not been a problem, and I wished it wasn't there at all, but whatever, it isn't causing a problem yet, and I might have even gotten a little more production, who knows. But that was kind of interesting about the chop and drop with no extra fertilizer. Even though okra is a big plant and a vigorous plant, a lot of people think it wants a lot of water and a lot of fertility. That's not really what I've found. You don't want to starve it to death, obviously, but over fertility will give you the suckers and tillers out the side and some other unwanted habits and less yield, mainly. And using the cover crop here, I have got excellent production. You can see they're super green. I even have basil and other things interplanted in the middle. So I guess I'll wrap it up now. Hybrid okra, I did swap over, and I really don't have any regrets. I can still grow heirloom okra in the future if that's what I want to do, but this did bear better, and I like it. For homestead or commercial, I think it's a good choice. So Jambalaya, a dark green hybrid variety from Osborne Seeds. Hope y'all got some use out of that. I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all be good. Bye.